I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Second.
Bob seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So, first item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. We have two sets of minutes. We have July 1st, 2025 and September 2nd of 2025. Everybody's received those, right? And reviewed them?
Sure.
I did.
For either of the second?
I didn't review them, so I'm not.
Okay, all right, so do I have a motion to accept those minutes?
So moved.
Second?
I second it.
We'll get Ken and
Good.
Kim.
Who was first, second?
Sam is the first, is the motion, and Ken's the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
I'm trying to find the minutes.
so we have no possible extensions or abandonments of applications pursuant to the town code. We have no public hearings. So we'll move on to the items for discussion. The first of which is Healy Ford truck repair, 12-1-8.221. And then the presentation, applicant proposing expansion of existing facility requiring the following variances. 97-26D, setback of principal structure to a water course. 97-14A, maximum impervious surface coverage. Interpretation, 97-48A, 4C, landscaping of parking lots. I know.
James Barrett recuses himself.
Ken Barrett recused himself.
Great, so we'll have Betty guys step off the dais for the time here. Thank you. And we'll start, if you'll just state your name and who you're with and all that for the record. We'll go.
Good evening, Jay Samuelson, Engineering Properties, here representing Healy Ford. As you so eloquently said in the description, this is an expansion of the existing Ford truck repair facility at 6.5 Stationer Road. The existing facility building is right here. They're looking to put the expansion on the back. We did make the application to the planning board, but as we started going through it, there are several variances that are required to build it with this proposed layout. The first one, as you mentioned, is the principal structure within 100 feet of the watercourse. The green lines would be the setback of the watercourse that does come through to the middle of the site, part of the Rio Grande. The area that I did highlight in pink is the area of the building that would be within that 100 feet. That building is proposed to be 47.8 feet off the top of the bank of the watercourse. The zoning code does not define the setback location. It just says from the average high water mark. Well, that average high water mark in the Rio Grande fluctuates very significantly, so I was very conservative and took the top of the bank rather than any part along the bank where the high water may fluctuate. So that's why we're asking for the variance to 47.8 feet. The second variance is for impervious coverage. The existing impervious coverage is approximately 78%. Everything that we are doing is we're not creating any additional impervious. We may actually reduce that by a percentage or two by the time we clean up some of the parking and landscaping areas for that. But that existing impervious coverage is already at 78%, where only 70% is allowed by code. And the third one is the interpretation request, which may turn into a variance request depending on the interpretation. There is a lot of, the site is used for inventory storage of new vehicles for some of their other facilities. So we are interpreting that as outdoor storage or inventory storage and not a parking lot. So we're looking to determine or get an interpretation from the board of whether those areas meet the criteria of a parking lot or are they outdoor storage. Because if they were a parking lot, they would require landscaping for any row of parking that has greater than 40 spaces in it. So, like I said, if the interpretation is that they are parking lots, we will request a variance from that as well. So those are the three things that we're here to discuss tonight.
Okay. What are you guys thinking?
My only thought when I looked at the application was about the rail, like about the trail, and whether or not
people would recognize the impact of the building and any, like, more movement?
So that whole area where the building is going to go is currently blacktop and used for parking and access into the current building. So it's already all paved areas. So the paved area will just be removed and the building placed there. So we're not creating any new additional area that wasn't being used previously.
Okay. And like, there's already like a tree line buffer. It's
There
pretty
is a tree
solid.
line buffer on the rail trail on the opposite side of the Rio Grande, yes.
So behind that probably would be the first thing you would see would be like the back of the building then now instead of cars, or would it still be?
So the only thing you can see from the rail trail, you'll be able to see, there is a tree line here along the side of the Rio Grande. So this is the existing building. So right now you could see this parking lot, so you would see this building as well.
Wouldn't change too much.
So the building increases by how much, what percentage? Looks like close to 30,
The
40%?
current building is just over 13,000 square feet and the addition is just over 20,000 square feet. So it actually a little more than doubles the size of the building.
Well, I mean, the addition is 20,000 square.
Correct,
feet. On top of the 13.
correct.
Okay. I guess and I've raised this question in the past with applications. I feel like there's a lot of segmentation going on here. There's obviously a plan that you guys have to expand these facilities, yet you keep coming back one bite at a time, and that's problematic, versus bringing us the plan that says, this is what we're trying to do, let's do this, instead of all these little pieces. I find that troublesome, I'll just be honest.
Unfortunately, just if I can address that.
We've addressed it before, and yet here we are, less than a year later, or about a year later, we're doing it again. So, you can address it, but I'm concerned about it. I just want to be really clear that I'm
Then I
concerned about
won't
it.
address it, I guess, Tom. If you want to hear it, if you
I
want to
do,
hear the
I
reasons
do.
for it, then I'm more than willing to speak to them.
We have to get his name.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
John, can you get his name, full name? Your name?
It's John, last name is Kerner, K-O-E-R-N-E-R. So, our business is dictated by our manufacturers and the programs that they come out. When we originally came to you 4 years ago now probably for the Lincoln building, that was a Lincoln program where they required a separate facility for Lincoln at that time, or we were gonna lose an awful lot of margin on the vehicles that we sell. So we came here in order to do that, and we moved our Mitsubishi store 7 miles down the road to Middletown, New York. The facility came out better, and I would say that anybody that drove by that facility today, compared to when it was Mitsubishi, it is far more beautiful than what it was prior. Then Ford, quite honestly, is looking for a complete revamp of the entire dealership on the Ford side, to the left of Lincoln. They call it the Signature Series. They tie our margin to whether or not we build the facilities that they want their customers and our customers to do business in. So when we came back for the service drive, that was part A of the new Signature package that they came out with. This truck expansion, which is a totally different realty corporation, it's a separate business within Healy Ford Lincoln, it's owned by different owners. I have been toying with this idea for 6 years. But if Ford has come out with what they call the Ford Pro Elite facility. So Ford has 3 distinct business units. Ford Blue, which is selling of ICE vehicles. Ford Pro and Ford Pro Elite, which is the commercial end of their business. And Ford EV, which is electric vehicles. The truck shop operates under Ford Pro Elite. That is Ford's largest section of the business, and Ford owns 65% of the commercial truck business in the United States of America. They see that as a tremendous opportunity for them, and they are offering us, Healy Ford Lincoln, a fair amount of money in order to expand the capacity of our truck facility to meet the demand for quality repairs on commercial vehicles, whether it be Amazon, DHL, FedEx, ambulances, tow trucks. We are already 6 to 8 weeks out for an appointment at that facility right now, because these individuals and these businesses have no place to get these vehicles serviced. Many dealers got out of the business because they couldn't afford to buy the equipment to be in the business. So thus I am here tonight. Quite honestly, I'm getting older. I'm not really interested in whether or not this works for my benefit, but for the benefit and the longevity of Healy Ford Lincoln, commercial trucks and commercial truck service and parts is where we are going to either stay in business or we'll be out of business in 10 years.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that, I just wanna make
And-
sure that we're not getting.
It's not,
you know,
it's just the money comes from different areas of Ford Motor Company.
I know, but it's also, it's sort of the planning, and I wanna make sure that we're not being deceived by, oh, we want this, then we want that, and then, oh,
We're
6
not,
months later, we want
but
that.
I
So
do
just-
want, but I do want to make it clear to the board right now, in 3 years, we could be back here saying that Ford would like a new look on the front of the Ford building. So, I'll put that out there tonight.
Can we talk a little bit about the interpretation that you're seeking on the parking lot? Because I think those islands and the things that people see are there to prevent heat sinks, right? They're not there for aesthetics. They're there to create shade and keep the blacktop from overheating and creating an island where you have excessive heat, especially close to a water course. So I just offer that to you, that you think about that in terms of your, when it comes time for a public hearing and all of that, that you think about it, because that's how I interpret that. And from that perspective, I'm not sure that I see it, a parking lot different from storage. Because the intended effect of having those islands and shading and all that is to prevent excessive heat gain. So I think you'll want to address that in a way that is acceptable to everybody. What else do you guys have questions about at this stage?
So the setback is, you're asking about 25 feet?
So the, the requirement is this, to have the principal building 100 feet from the water course. We are 47.8, so we're asking for about 52 feet, yeah. And again, like I said, if I do the analysis to determine the average high water, that may go to, instead of asking for 47.8, it may go to 53 feet is what we could provide. So the extent of the variance, whether it's the top of the bank or the high water mark, is less than a couple of percent. So that's why I was conservative in utilizing the top of the bank.
All right, on the second one, the impervious is, you're looking at 7% difference, you said?
So the existing is 78% impervious. The site currently is 78%. Code allows 70%. Like I said, where the building is going and the improvements we're doing are already all impervious areas. With some of the improvements, there may be some landscape islands that may end up in there in certain parts of the site that will actually reduce that coverage, but we're looking for that 70, I think it's 77.8%, I think was the number on the plan, which is existing, and we're hoping to bring that down a couple of percentages when we have the final plan. But we're looking for the variance up to that level.
And just discuss again with me with the interpretation with the landscaping again?
So we believe that the storage of those vehicles is inventory parking or outdoor storage, and it's not a parking lot where you're gonna have cars that are constantly in and out. I understand the chairman's interpretation for heat sinking. I didn't write the code, so I don't know what the interpretation was or the intent was when it was written, but most of the sections of codes that I have had are mostly the deal that's in the landscaping section of the code, so it has to deal with more of aesthetics and landscaping in my opinion, but again, you guys have your own opinion.
So there's, both have definitions in our code, outdoor storage and parking, so just for knowledge, they're both in
Yeah, we'll check
97,
them both
9784.
84?
Yeah, 9784, if you want to look towards it. Specific, the parking lot is 9784 is where outdoor storage is defined. Parking lot is 97-48A, sub 4, sub C. And it defines it as design and landscape to avoid long uninterrupted rows of vehicles by breaking them into separate parking lots divided by tree lines, alleys, pedestrian areas, buildings. Parking lots containing more than 40 spaces shall be divided into smaller areas by landscaped islands. That's really applying, not the definition, but what the landscaping would be. I'm interested to hear the advocacy again of where you delineate the difference between parking and outdoor storage area, because outdoor storage area is land used for the keeping of goods, wares, equipment, or supplies outside of a structure. If it's, if you guys find it ambiguous, then that would tend to lend towards their argument, but we can work towards the definition. I just wanna put it out there to direct you guys to go ahead.
Can I ask that we looking, like, I'm sure there are comparable situations where you have kind of like parking lots that are storing cars. I don't know if, like, in the past that the board would consider those parking lots or outdoor storage.
Understood, yeah,
I'm curious.
Yeah, no, I am as well. It's a unique question, so.
Rory,
Yeah.
Marcia Jacobowitz, attorney for applicant.
She's a name
I
too.
also,
You need to give your name to the secretary.
Yeah. Got it.
I did it
Just do it.
quickly.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Marcia Jacobowitz, attorney for applicant. I would also have you just look at 97-14, D, there's, no, hold on, D 5, I think it is.
Yep, I see that.
Reference to automobile dealers with regard to outdoor storage.
Okay, yeah, I see where you're
I
at.
think that one might be also the
Outdoor
relevant
storage in enclosed buildings, is that the,
section to,
yeah,
Take a look.
97, 14D 5. That's what you're pointing at, Marcia?
yes. Yes. I mean, this will come into play based on what the interpretation
Yep.
is, because if the interpretation doesn't necessarily go the way that, we would like it to go, then there's the 10% limitation and a waiver
Right.
from the planning board that'll be requested.
I see, so that's what you just defined, or what
Right.
you pointed to, the waiver.
Correct.
Okay. I'll try to succinctly draw that up for you guys as far as what's laid out in addition to the advocacy of the applicant.
Awesome, thanks, Rory. It's like you have the Milmar, then the John Deere dealership, and then this location. And it's like driving by, it's just pretty clear, it's just storing cars right now. Will this be like service where you'll have trucks going in to go to the building to get service like you would see on that's what you're proposing here, to have that?
So it's currently used as, the existing building is used for truck repair.
Oh, okay.
So, and they all access as you're looking at the John Deere place to the left of it.
Yeah.
And they come in through that to get to the truck facility, which will remain. So this whole piece up here is the whole John Deere facility that has all of their equipment and everything else outside as well. The vehicle storage is over here on the side and then here in the rear. This area here, it will be used for the truck repair facility. It's just the areas on this side here and this area in the back here that are used for inventory storage.
So, will it be a substantial increase in car traffic that will be turning into the property?
You're just gonna have a higher turnover of you're gonna have more room for appointments for the truck repair.
Okay.
So it'll be a couple more trucks to get in and out, instead of waiting 8 weeks for an appointment, like you said, they're gonna wait 2 weeks.
Got it.
So it's still gonna be the same, there's a couple more bays, I believe, right, you're adding?
Yeah, I would say the answer to that question is yes, there would be some additional traffic coming into the
Right, that's the
dealership
point,
as
we
we
developed it.
expanded and there was more capability to service trucks.
Yeah.
But you're looking at just regular trucks, like 16 or 22 footers or stuff like that? Or you're looking at just regular 150s or 250s, whatever they are?
But we go up to the size right now of, say, a UPS or an Amazon.
You don't do
truck or
tractor
something.
trailers, though?
No, we do no
No,
tractor
no
trailer
tractors.
work whatsoever, absolutely not.
No, okay. Okay.
where are you guys at with the planning board right now?
We've made an application, they haven't done anything with it.
Okay, thank you for giving me exactly where it's at. So, at some point, we'll have to coordinate with the planning board as far as their declaring lead agency being involved agency, but they haven't acted yet.
No, they haven't acted. Didn't know if this could be an uncoordinated review or not.
I think that would be potential, so I just wasn't sure going into tonight where you were at with them, so. And do you anticipate?
Well, we just made our initial presentation there, and until we figure out what we're doing with the variances, we just didn't want to go any, there's no
Right.
reason to go any further.
That makes sense. Okay. I'll talk to you offline about that, Jay. We'll
Okay.
figure out the direction we're going there. I mean, you're gonna have to be back here again at least one more time.
So we didn't set a public hearing or anything just yet.
You know, because the day is short, I mean, Trino would be the only other member, right? So, I mean, he can watch the YouTube, but he doesn't have an opportunity to inquire. He can inquire in writing if he wants. Are you guys pushing for a public hearing?
We'd like to schedule it for the next meeting, and we'll see where it goes from there, but at least
You guys have any issue with scheduling a public hearing 30 days out? We'll continue to ask questions as I provide you guys information, but. you have any
30 days,
objection?
not for next week.
Not for next meeting, no.
I don't have a problem with that. know
I have not gotten, they're gonna differ on this, because they're gonna want the public hearing right away and close, but the GMLs are not coming back that quickly, they're going right up to the 30 days, not that you necessarily.
Understood.
I prefer it to go out in 30 days, so I'm not trying to delay your project, but, streamlining it, so.
Nope.
That would be our, what would, November. What did you say? Yeah, you did say, Bob, when are you away?
November 4th.
The fourth
That would be,
Monday.
that would be the 30 day.
So we'd have to have Trino here, but he isn't in part of this.
Correct. Are you back on the 18th? You around for the 18th?
I'll be back on the 17th of November, so I'm gonna make the 18th meeting. That's why I scheduled it, so I won't miss that many meetings.
Thanks, Bob. My concern about going 2 weeks out is the turnaround.
No, I
And
understand
then, yeah, and we have a member that I'm not sure they'll be here on the 4th in addition to Bob, which would take quorum away, so. We go to the 18th, you guys all right with that?
At this point, we don't have much of a choice, I don't believe.
I was hoping you would just say yes, but
Yes.
I mean, if it was that big a pushback, we could try the 2 weeks, it would be my preference.
No, I don't wanna,
If-
I don't wanna do the 2 weeks, but I don't, yeah,
Yeah. All right,
because I know county will never get back.
no, it's.
Well, if the employees of Healy Auto weren't such good civil servants, then we would have a full board.
Or I'll also try, I mean, what my standard is to put together the
5 points.
5 points,
Yeah, sure.
and as I did the last time, I'll get that to you and the board.
That'd be great, yeah, absolutely, any advocacy that you wanna provide and, lay it out for them would be great.
Okay, I'll do that.
Oh, okay, doesn't matter.
No.
Okay, yeah, all right, so, can we get a motion to, set it down for a public hearing on November 18th at 7:30 PM or soon thereafter?
So move.
Seconded?
All in
Very good.
favor?
Aye.
You do the notices?
The building department will, just contact Grace with the building department, she'll set you up with
Yep.
the radius and all the names. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Yep. Nope. Good.
Thank you.
Good night.
Have a good night, guys.
You too.
Thank you.
So with, With that, we don't have anybody here for?
No, I'm surprised. I usually check in.
Oh, I'm here.
Oh, all right.
I'm here for everything, I'm not going
Oh,
anywhere.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
All right, then.
I was expecting, yes, I got
Okay, so we're here with 6.5 Station Road.
it. Okay.
6.5 Station Road, 12-1-8.13, it's a continuation. Parcel currently contains an existing 30,000 square foot warehouse and 7,366 square foot office space. The proposed project is an 8,680 square foot addition to the front of the building. The additional building proposed will cause the building footprint to be 4,906 square feet, exceeding the exceeding the 40,000 square foot. Therefore, an area variance for the required, will be required for the overage. So,
Good evening, Jay Samuelson, Engineering Properties. So this is the old Orange Hollow Rocket Club. Planning Board gave it approval to convert it to a warehouse, I think it was in 2020 or 2021. The owner there distributes vitamins, so he's just got trucks that come in, stores the vitamins and ships them back out, and some other health products. What he's looking to do is add the addition in the areas that I have highlighted in green. Those areas will be solely for additional storage only. He's not adding any employees, he's not adding any new office areas. Both of those areas will be constructed just for additional storage of product. And like you said, as you said, it gets over the maximum building size of 40,000 square feet because he's already at 37 and change, so it would allow him for about a 2,200 square foot expansion. He's looking for the 87. Other than that, there's no other changes to the site. If you remember those areas where, this area was part of where the original pool was and some of the outdoor courts. This is kind of a lawn area now. So we need a variance to get greater than 40,000, then obviously we would have to go back to planning board for site plan approval for the additions as well.
are there any changes to the way trucks enter or vehicles enter or any of those kinds of things?
No, none of that is changing whatsoever. Nothing is changing other than these areas will become, from this is a lawn area. This currently has some picnic tables and some sidewalks in it that would just become enclosed buildings. So those areas would just go away. All the trucks still come out on top of the old tennis courts and back in and go back out. And this area here was paved and is used for employee parking. No other changes other than adding increasing the size of the footprint of the building.
No changes to the height or?
Nope, match the existing height that's there. Yep.
So basically, you look like you're kind of squaring the.
Trying to square it off as
existing-
much as possible, yeah.
Why aren't we setting up docks in the additional area?
No additional docks.
No, then why aren't they?
Because like you said, he's just gonna utilize the existing docks here and just have everything come in and do additional storage there. Everything will come in off the existing docks. Doesn't wanna add docks, doesn't wanna add traffic, he's gonna use the existing docks he has.
Is the applicant the owner?
Yes.
And you said this is a storage of vitamins and health products?
Yes.
Do you know how long he's been in the business?
I don't know how long he's been in the business. I know that he got site plan approval around 21, 22 and moved here and remodeled that building.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was previous, front yard is pre-existing, non-conforming with the variance granted in 20.
Yeah, so I believe that there is, Ross made a minor error on the application that there was a previous variance for side yard setback, although the application says no. I guess there was one for this existing building back here. There was the existing building when Orange Hollow, it was Orange Hollow, they got a variance. A variance was granted for that side yard.
Corner, yeah.
It was it turned out to be a corner lot, yes.
2 front yards.
2 front yards, yeah.
You're looking for unlisted, I'm assuming, right?
Yes.
We're still under the maximum for impervious surface?
Yes.
It's about 19, well, exactly 19.8%.
Is there any?
Percentage, so that matters to you guys.
Of the building increase, yeah.
When there's heavy like rain, is there any water that accumulates on the property noticeably? I mean,
I don't know that answer. I can find out. I know that there are associated wetlands over here that all drain to the culvert that goes across the street into Rio Grande, so
yeah, I know that when we were,
I don't know if that area floods or not. I don't know that answer, but I can find out.
Having worked in the Ford store next door, the backside of that building does have water, especially in
The
winter time.
backside, meaning the.
Meaning this side
Yeah.
back here?
yeah, because I mean the environmental review board too.
Yeah, that would be, because especially heavy snowfall, because I used to have to plow that lot.
You can see the
and
wetland wraps
Could
around.
not put snow to that side of the lot.
And is it a bit of a swale there? Is it like almost like a ditch, do you know?
Yeah,
It's almost like it's designed to hold it,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So doesn't the Healy Lincoln property go up right up to that building there, or
Pretty
or
much.
close to it?
There's,
The property line.
Where's the property line at? Right,
This is, I don't know what their entity is. This is WHS Realty. I don't know if that's one of the Healy
that's
ones.
the Healy.
Yes. Yes.
so you're saying, since you guys are there all the time, you said there's water buildup in that area?
I worked in that store for 15 years.
There was always water accumulated?
Yeah,
If
this
you had
area-
heavy rain
Yeah,
and
this
heavy
is-
snowfall.
This is all wetlands that are going down 6.5 Station Road towards the rail trail.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it's on the side of the existing building. It's
Yeah.
not-
Yeah, it's
Right,
it's
right.
not affecting.
Yeah,
Right.
it's outside the old tennis courts. It's not in the
Right.
area that we're proposing any of the
Yeah,
development.
but by us covering that additional, the water has to go somewhere. And if it moves to the back part of the property, that means that we're gonna have, so if there's an issue with the applicant with water accumulated in the back of the building, shouldn't that be drained with some type of piping or irrigation going to our wetlands?
So as part of the planning board process, we'll have to look at the drainage and look at the SWIP.
Yeah,
And-
because the
and
water's
see
gotta
if-
go somewhere.
Correct.
Water's gotta go somewhere, we're covering more property, more
Yeah.
dirt,
So
more dirt.
a lot of
That's
that,
dirt
right there,
a
right?
lot of, well, this was originally the pool, an outdoor pool and some of the courts, so this was impervious originally before
Oh.
they changed it back.
Right.
This area was always grass, but this had a lot of impervious in it previously and still has some in there now, but as part of the planning board process, yes, we'll look at all that drainage, that'll all be part of our site plan
That's
application.
the issue I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna have planning board, DEC, and Orange County Planning Department on that, I would imagine.
Yeah.
I have no problem expansion.
You're adding these trees and gravel, or you're replacing the current gravel with ornamental trees and such to.
So this, what you're looking at here this is the approved site plan that was underneath us. We just took Lankin Tully did the original plan, so we have a PDF of their plan. We just did this as a sketch to see if we would get the variance. If that's the case, then we would actually get the CAD survey and update the actual site plan. But we just took their original plan to show a sketch of where the buildings would be to determine whether we could get the variance for the increased size of building before we went through with the actual site design.
Is there a way to verify that the lawn and trees and such was handled prior to?
We can definitely look into that.
Even though, planning and other folks are gonna look at this drainage issue and all that stuff, is there a way we can condition our stuff on that? Like, specify that, planning board's gonna do their job, I know that.
That's gonna segue nicely into the Gumwood discussion, but yes. There's a limitation to what you can't direct the planning board on how to
Plan.
do their job, so to
Right.
speak, other than making sure that they're not divested of their jurisdiction and that they have, that any conditions that are set forth by the planning board would be adhered to. Which is a boilerplate in our decisions anyway, but again, our next discussion after this will clarify where I'm hinting at.
Okay.
I mean, typically that's the entire purpose of having enough impervious pavement for that not to really come into question. Typically we're having that conversation when they're asking for a variance on that percentage. I mean, they're below it already. I personally wouldn't have any issues with it. I mean, I'm sure they're gonna do it anyway. Obviously, nobody wants to have the property around their warehouse flooded, but
Right.
I mean, to make it a part of it is, if
So this is the first step, so they have, like you said, you have the environment review board, and we have the planning board.
And they gotta get a SWIP, so they're gonna have DC going, they're gonna have everybody up on them.
Alright, I'm good.
All right, well,
So, motion, do you wanna put this on for,
I think we should put this on,
we were advised during the discussion about November 4th, that November 4th is, election day, and this is a polling center. So,
Oh.
we will
So
not
we're
be
not gonna
meeting
be
on
ready?
November.
Won't be here anyway, so I'm not gonna miss no meetings at all.
So,
How did
Yeah,
that, how did
Bob.
that not have that?
We,
Yeah.
you're just gonna make sure you early vote, that's all.
I mean, absentee, I get
Yeah,
um,
so, then we're gonna motion to,
So this would also have to be put out to
the 18th.
18th,
Yep.
right? Because we need more than 30 days to.
Which will make it easier for Jay, anyway, that one meeting.
I like when you make things easier for me.
Yeah, I'm here for it. So if we get a motion to set this down for public hearing, November 18th, 7:30 PM, soon thereafter can be heard.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
James, makes the motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Oh, Bob wanted that one.
No, I wanted to make sure.
Oh, you
guys
were
are-
pointing at him, I thought you were
Make sure
saying.
you're attending over there.
Exactly.
You know, they missed half the meeting
Give
over
me the
there.
nod.
All right, I
All
got
in
it.
favor?
Aye.
All right,
We still have plenty of.
all right, Jay.
Thank you.
Well, I'm curious to hear what you guys say on the next one too, so I'm gonna stick around. Since we are working on that one as well.
Yeah.
These are the next one too?
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one is discussions of, board discussion of 6 Gumwood Drive, Morris Estate, 27-10-2, and also 8 Gumwood Drive, Morris Estate, 27-10-3. Variance granted for development within the floodplain and ponding area overlay district, stream corridor and reservoir watershed overlay district, aquifer overlay district as well, so.
Okay, I placed this on the agenda, I'm gonna read into the record a memorandum, I think it's, just easier for me to read it, let you guys digest it, I will distribute it, but we can, I'll open it up after the record. So, memorandum provides guidance, regarding the ZBA's recent decision granting an area variance from 97-26 stream corridor and reservoir watershed overlay district and related overlay provisions. Upon review of the decision record, concerns have been raised as to whether the relief granted exceeded the scope of the board's lawful authority under town law, section 267-B. This memo identifies the defect, confirms the planning board's retained jurisdiction, outlines proper procedure to rescind or amend the prior decision under town law 267-A sub 12. So what's the legal deficiency? The relief that was given must be measurable and specific. So our ZBA authority under town law 267-B sub 3 is limited to granting area variances, that being quantitative relief from specific dimensional or bulk requirements. Such variances must be measurable. For example, reduction in setback distance, an increase in lot coverage, or elevation adjustments in a floodplain. In this case, the decision purports to grant relief from 97-26 in its entirety. Section 97-26 is a comprehensive overlay provision containing multiple performance-based environmental and procedural standards, not solely dimensional criteria. A waiver from this entire section constitutes blanket exemption, functionally a legislative amendment or rezoning, which lies solely within the jurisdiction of the town board, not the ZBA. Includes some case law for your pleasure, reading pleasure. Because the decision did not specify which measurable standards were varied, is procedurally defective and beyond the scope of section 267-B authority. So, regarding the planning board's jurisdiction being preserved, and I haven't given you the background, but essentially when the applicant went before the planning board, presented the decision as being overly broad and could be interpreted multiple ways, essentially that the planning board was divested of its jurisdiction since the variance was a variance from the section itself, not part of the section, like, for instance, 70% impervious coverage and granting 78%, you have to stay within that 8%. So, Town Law 276, sub 12 makes clear the planning board jurisdiction is not affected by any action of the ZBA, even when an area variance is granted. The planning board retains authority to conduct site plan and special permit review, evaluate overlay performance standards, and impose appropriate conditions or mitigation measures under 97, 25, 26, and 27. Accordingly, our decision should have been construed narrowly, granting relief only from specific dimensional constraints, not wholesale exemption from overlay regulation. So, what are our options? There's two options. One was that Frank, as the building inspector, could set down numerous conditions attached with a building permit, or we can reverse or modify our prior decision to include the specificity that I think was the spirit of what I believe the folks that Deus believed they were voting on. Now, meaning that it would go to the planning board for mitigation, not unlike what you just asked me on the prior applicant, okay? So, for the ZBA to reverse, modify, or annul its own determination may be done so only by a motion of a member who voted in the majority in a reasonable time, provided notice and opportunity to be heard to all given interested parties. So, step-by-step process would be initiation. Motion to rehear must be made by a member who previously voted in the favor of the original resolution, which would be Sam, Bob, or Trino. It must be seconded by someone in the majority, at which point it would essentially go back to the public hearing stage, and it would be not even necessarily re-presented. It could be just, if it's re-voted on, or conditions could be specified, wherein it would go, what I thought the group's intended purpose was, which was for it to go to the planning board, have them assess what mitigation needs to be done from, whether it's in this particular case, mostly environmentally, situated because of where it was in what overlay district it was in. So, again, the decision when it was viewed by the planning board attorney, presented by the applicant's attorney, they agreed that the interpretation would be that it was a variance from the entire particular code, which is exactly the opposite of what was discussed. You heard me say multiple times about it being legislative. Be careful about making legislative action and changing the code, as opposed to varying from the code based on the unique situation that each applicant is faced with. So, what I have just laid out to everybody, let's start with questions, comments, or anything like that.
So will everybody be involved in a new
Yeah.
vote for this?
Yes, so it would go back to whoever is there that night. Ken would go back to being an alternate. If everybody from the regular dais is there, you would be voting on that particular day, assuming you went to a vote. So as long as you are, uniquely, we have the cameras now, so presentations can be rewatched and you can be caught up to speed, different than going off of minutes. So as long as you feel you're comfortable to make a decision, you would be involved in it. You're just unable to participate in the motion that would potentially bring it back to be reheard. We're not making a determination that we're annulling. It could come back and we could wind up in the same, theoretically could wind up in the same boat. So I hope that answers the question.
Who wrote the memo?
I wrote the memo.
Did you send it to us?
I did not, no, I wrote it. This happened in the last 3 days, and my first goal was to call everybody, and then I thought, you know what, I should just draft a memo, read it into the record, and then pass it along to everybody. And if you guys, you don't have to make a motion tonight. If you want more information, obviously I'll send you the memo, but I would encourage you to you can go watch the planning board.
Is counsel for the applicant aware of the memo?
No.
Of the potential proposed action?
No, they would have an opportunity to be heard at the public hearing for it.
What has the planning board attorney said about any of this?
Well, planning board attorney agreed that it was an overly broad decision and that it divests the planning board of jurisdiction and it leaves the two options I presented. My conversations with him about the construct of what I've just advised you guys of is in line with his, I mean, he's not here and he's new, so I don't want to speak too much of my conversations with him because they were not brief, but they were in the last few days, and these are our options. It doesn't mean you have to do it. I'm just, if the impression you were under is that your decision was going to result in the applicant, which again, I'm not a member of this dais here, so I don't have your reasoning for your decision other than what you said on the record. But it seemed to me that the applicant understood they'd be going to the planning board, not to go to the planning board to tell them that they didn't need to be there. I don't think that was ever an indication. The applicant knows that the action, I mean, it's essentially, it's procedurally flawed in that it's a legislative action. It could be Article 78 by a citizen or.
The applicant's attorney knows, you said knows that?
He knows now that it divested the planning board of, it basically acted as a legislative, there's no other way to view it. I can't speak for his exact mindset, but I mean, as an municipal attorney, if you go to the planning board and all of a sudden the planning board doesn't have any jurisdiction because of decision off of a variance, well, I would say to you that.
At what time, I hear you, Rory, but at what time was that divestment happen? Was it divested when they tried to put it on the agenda and we went through with that from the jump?
No.
Or was it divested
no,
at some point?
It would be like the person's looking for choose the impervious, right? The impervious 78 to 70.
Why don't we talk about what it was specifically with Gumwood? It was.
Well, I'm just gonna give you, all right, fine. So it would be like any setback, it would be like, you give the variance to the section that has the setback and you don't define how far, what the variance is, how like, all right, so I'll read you what my suggested language, I don't wanna get too far ahead. So if we were talking about floodplain overlay, 9725. So the language it should probably read is relief from the elevation and sitting restrictions to the extent required to permit placement of the principal structure with a finished floor elevation 410 feet, 2 feet above the established base flood elevation of 408 feet. Documented in the FEMA flood zone, AE mapping dated such and such. No additional encroachment below the BFAE is authorized, and all construction shall comply with applicable building code flood-resistant construction standards. Instead, it just grants a variance from the floodplain overlay district. It's not specific enough, and it basically, that's my interpretation of where they've been divested of their ability to act. It's basically a variance from the section itself with no, I think planning board attorney's terminology was no metrics, no, right? What was the terminology? No quantifiable determination of where their variance is, how much it is. That's why I'm using something as simple as a setback before I get into, this is a little more complicated, but a setback, you gotta, it's supposed to be 100 feet and they wanna chop it to 50 feet, right? You don't just give them the variance for that setback, say what the details and the metrics of that setback are.
Yeah, no, it's a lot more complicated. I mean, it's 25, 26, and 27, or was it just 26 and 27?
25, 26, and 27.
26 is the only one that has like an actual distance in the code, right?
Yeah, but it doesn't. I'm using distance because of metrics. You think distance, but even like laying out. And not everything. I don't know how to answer that, but you're right. I mean, it's the stream corridor overlay has got a footage or something quantifiable, but you still, there's other things like you can put in there that they can't do that they adhere to.
Mm-hmm. I'm just, and then so they're not going to need a site plan now because of our
That's
decision?
correct.
they're not gonna need a site plan?
Right?
The way the decision was written and voted on, they don't have to go back to the planning board.
Why not?
Because it's a variance from the section itself. It's essentially saying that the section doesn't apply to them. None of these sections apply to them. They just gotta get a building permit.
And I think the board was under the assumption the planning board had another look at this and get involved,
That's the case.
right?
I mean, I think, that's the,
So what would have changed that from the time, like, what would have changed that? If we would have come to a decision and voted on something, drafted it, would additional language have changed this? What we would have sent to the, and to what extent? Like, I mean, because we were very specific, and I don't know if I'll have to reread the decision, but I mean, we were very specific in conversation, and the applicant's attorney was 100% in line with that, and we were going to put a condition on it. We were gonna put a condition on it that we would go to the planning board,
it's in.
but it just didn't.
It's in the condition that adhere to all conditions. So I have additional language which I would put in there, which is the preservation, planning board jurisdiction preservation clause is what I want to put in there, which essentially says nothing here construed to limit or affect the jurisdiction of the town of Goshen planning board to review and act upon site plan and special permit applications for the subject property. I didn't make the decision that it was divested them of it, but it seems, planning board attorney felt it did. I think our engineer felt it did. Certainly the applicant attorney was gonna join in that, but that's the reality of it. I mean, it's procedurally flawed. I will certainly take the responsibility for that. But I mean, the goal is to effectuate the wishes of the ZBA. If you want more time, because it's only popped up, the planning board meeting was Thursday. No, was it 2 Thursdays ago? 2 Thursdays ago. Then by the time we all got on, went through it, conferenced it, researched it, made sure, and then got to this, it's our meeting.
Yeah.
So it's on for discussion. You don't have to make a motion tonight. If you want, you don't have Trino here, you want more time to feel comfortable. I want to get it right. The only thing I'll say about, from a timing standpoint is, ideally you want to pull it back as quick as possible. We don't want, they've hired an engineer. You don't want them putting efforts into something that ultimately they relied upon a decision and started acting, and then, we're pulling the rug out from under them later on. So it is, in a sense, time of the essence in that respect.
No, say no more, I got you.
It doesn't mean that you have to, when it comes back, that anything, it's essentially an opportunity, it's to rehear it, make sure that everybody understands what their vote is.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I didn't realize that would be what the issue was when I saw it on the agenda, and so I will say I was very clear. I can go.
Yeah, I watched
myself
that. Yeah,
that I felt comfortable making the decision because I had an understanding it was going to the planning board. So if that's not the case, then it's something worth considering, and it has to be looked into. I mean, for sure.
For next, I said we go for next meeting.
Yeah, I'd like to make a reasoned decision, but read the memo, watch the planning board video, go back and watch our night. I'll send them both to you. I'll send you the memo with the timestamps on the 2 videos. Allow you guys a couple, 2 weeks to digest it, fire off questions to me, and then we'll put it back on. Applicant will be, we'll have time to, obviously the applicant.
I feel more comfortable with that way.
I have a feeling Jay is gonna take care of the notice part anyway, but I'm certainly gonna give a courtesy to Charles to be heard. I'm not trying to, we want the right result. I mean, you guys wanted it to go there with the conditions. That's all. We're trying to get it back to where everybody's making a reasoned decision, knowing the impact of the decision.
Okay.
Now,
So, yes.
we're reopening the public hearing though, does that require some 30-day notice?
It's gonna require, it's not 30 days notice necessarily, it would require the same notice provisions that we normally a Ford on a public hearing, so it would be the radius, but it wouldn't, we do 30, my preference is 30 days because of the GML. But, I don't know that the GML is gonna change, so let's go calendar for 2 weeks.
We can't make a motion on that unless we have Trino.
No, technically these two could, but ideally you want Trino here in the event that Bob doesn't wanna make a motion or Sam doesn't, and it falls short because you don't have Trino, and I'm not suggesting stack the deck, or you want the deck to be full, you know?
Do you procedurally, would it have to be the block of people, of voters who approved it, that would have to vote in majority to rehear it, you know what I'm saying? Or if I motion, it goes to the sitting board that day? I'm asking you as
The motion has to be made by a member who voted in the majority.
Right.
Okay, and then it goes to a vote of the.
Of the whole board, not that voting block.
Correct.
Good, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, everything will, let's table it so you guys can have the procedure right in front of you.
Right.
Tom will have, so you can conduct it with, obviously with my help, but
There's no way I'll be asking for more time, I'll be ready to.
yeah, no, I
I
wasn't really expecting you guys to make the motion tonight. It was more that I have to advise you guys, and it's an open meeting law issue, so going around that, I'd rather just have you guys sitting here and just tell it to you, because.
From what I heard your memo, it was very clear, so I'll process, but it was clear,
Yeah, I'm not a hugest fan of you guys trying to listen to law like that, but it was, we're moving at the pace we're going,
Yeah.
so.
alright.
So you're gonna send the memos to us so we.
Send the memos, the videos, so you can watch what the planning board attorney says, it gives you some context, all right? And then I'm gonna send you exactly where it started, where I start asking Sam, and we go down the line, so you guys can refresh your recollection of how we got there and what the spirit of what you thought was there, and tie the spirit to the law, and hopefully have a more sound decision. So for what's on me, I accept,
No, right.
but it is.
But as a practical matter, where does that leave the applicant, where does that leave this, are they free to proceed and spend this money?
That's where notice comes in, right?
Proceedably proceed?
So there's a balance here, right? The applicant was just before the planning board 2 weeks ago, does not have a building permit, so they could be taking action in anticipation of having a building permit, but being that there are engineers sitting here listening to us put it back on in 2 weeks with the potential of it coming back, there's a duty to mitigate on both ends here, right? So our duty to mitigate is to make sure that we move on it as quick as possible, but not at a pace that is sloppy, but so quick enough that the applicant isn't harmed by our pace, right? The applicant also, if the applicant goes and just unloads the bank account now in light of this, then I don't know how much that would be our responsibility. Things happen along the way. They could have been stuck in the planning board process for months. So, the goal, ideally, I'm gonna notice Charles. The engineers noticed by sitting here, but I'm gonna formally notice Charles that we're putting it on in 2 weeks. Let him come here, let him be heard. It's not a public hearing, but he's an applicant, he's the applicant's attorney. He wants this decision to be, last thing the applicant wants is a citizen goes, wait a second, I'm Article 7, a neighbor, right? And then he's stuck in that process. So you want the decision to be sound, all parties do.
Yeah, of course.
Right, so I don't think he's gonna be jumping for joy, but I think it's certainly, things happen in the legal world, and you want the decision to be sound.
But it's also, in this process, going through it, we might come to a different decision. So, I just wanna make sure that everybody's aware.
I understand that, I
that
understand.
that's, I don't know that that's how it would go, I'm just saying that that's a possibility too, right? It was a split decision to begin with.
Correct.
And if we can't come to terms with a way to resolve this in a resolution that defines it in a way that is comfortable for this panel, we could deny it.
The applicant gonna be aware of that, having done this stuff for a long time, and you've picked up on that very quickly, because there could be a different lineup on the dais, and there could be different feelings, but, that's not why it's being brought back. I mean, you know,
No, I
it's
understand that,
not
but-
buyer's remorse, we thought well, it is buyer's remorse, and that's it, but we thought this decision meant this, and it resulted in that, right?
Right,
That's,
but this board could theoretically say, we can't define it the way we need to, and now we can't approve it. We
that's a
can't-
possibility,
is that
there's
I'm just trying to.
One
get
hundred
all
percent.
that- all
You
that
could have someone who voted in the majority not here, and it falls because of that, and nothing to do with the applicant's presentation. There's a lot of variables that could occur because it is
That's my
a
point.
3-2 decision. And listen, that should incentivize the applicant to participate and want the decision to be clearer and effectuate the wishes of the board if the board's so inclined to grant the variances. Because I thought we were all under the impression it was gonna be before the planning board. I don't think he could have waived it and said, "I'll waive the procedural flaw." So I'm not putting that on the applicant, but I think his anticipation was to be before the planning board, and that's why he was there that night.
I just wanna make sure everybody goes into this.
I don't know that would change whether or not you decide to bring it back or not, but yes, as a potential different result that could occur, for sure.
So if they don't vote on this or make a motion tonight, then we're at a minimum of 6 weeks before seeing,
No, we're gonna be back here in 2 weeks.
to make the motion, and then.
Yeah, but I'll have the applicant here, I mean, this won't be a public hearing. I mean, that's the quickest we can, I think you guys should have more time and more information and hopefully have Trino here, so at least there's, closer to the full dais that was here. That's the only other option, you guys, and look at it this way, if you guys decide to not bring it back, it's still, there's still the other alternative, which would be that Frank lays out conditions in the process. It's a pretty hefty burden to toss on the building inspector, when you have a whole board, planning board, that is there for that reason. Not that Frank's incapable, or just that it's a lot, and it should be more of a representative board doing it. The conditions by a building inspector, I don't think, that's not what that's designed for. I don't think, but you're the building inspector. I think that's why we're here.
It'll be uncharted waters for me.
Okay. Not something that.
So the next step would be basically, another initial presentation to review this thing a little bit, or no?
No, I think we would be back here with the idea that you guys are either, there's gonna be a motion, it's on for discussion again, potential motion to rehear, or to rehear the application on the public hearing end, because you guys believe the decision, potentially, if you vote, that you believe the decision did not carry forth what you thought it would when you voted on it. So I would love for that. I mean, ideally, the applicant's gonna be here and potentially the engineer, just to, it might be a collaborative process. How do we, what else do you think should be in the decision to get this, but you gotta bring it back first.
Right, so it's just a continuation of this discussion.
Yes, with more time to view the law, maybe our video and planning board, so you hear from them. I'll ask the planning board attorney if he wants to pitch in on anything, but it's just so you make as reasoned a decision you can make. Otherwise, we could do it tonight, but I think it's quick, so.
But then at that point.
Then it would be set, if it's motion to be brought back, it would be set it would be set at the public hearing stage. It would jump right to that.
The public hearing stage, and it's gonna be at least 4 weeks out, because the board is not.
Right, we might have a busy 18th, depending on how quick the applicant moves, and also, our attendance ability. We wanna have as many people here, especially if we're bringing a decision back. We wanna have a full day, and make sure everybody's up to date on the application. It's been a while, so, you know, a refresher wouldn't hurt. So, right now, it would just be to, that everybody agrees to put them on the next agenda. So, we can make a motion if you want to have them on, don't really need it by motion, but it doesn't hurt. Motion to have 6 and 8 Gumwood Drive on the 21st, the October 21st agenda for continued discussion and potential motion. If I can get someone to.
Somebody want to make that?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
James seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So,
Yeah, here.
obviously, if someone's got an issue with the 21st, please, the earlier you can let us know, the better. I'll let Charles know, but I'll let Charles know formally, but, you know, certainly can give him a heads up. I'm sure he considered this might be one of the possibilities. Anybody have any other questions related to that discussion? Certainly during this 2 weeks, you know, I would encourage you guys to ask the questions, because they may come out of the public, so the quicker you ask them to me, and the more informed that can make you guys and myself.
So you're gonna shoot that memo within the next couple of days then, right?
It will be there tomorrow,
Thank you.
along with the videos, time-stamped.
Yeah.
Just be mindful, I'm gonna send it out to the group, but be mindful that it's not a group discussion, all right? It's not a group email discussion, this is when we have open meeting laws, so I'm gonna disseminate it in a group email. Your questions are individual to me,
Got it.
or at least no more than 2 of you talking to me at the same time.
Yep, that's fine.
Sounds good.
Understood?
Yep.
Motion to, well, you're up
I
now.
don't wanna,
Yep.
adjourn just yet, so
Okay.
the next meeting will have this discussion, and there's also a new application. Did I hear that correctly from Grace?
Sorry.
There's a new application that we have to bring up next on the agenda?
Yes,
So those would be the 2 items?
yes.
There's also potential, and I don't know if this is what you're talking about, Milburn, or not? Or is this all?
No,
No.
there's another one coming in.
Yeah, there's a potential also, I just got communication today, 18 Milburn Road, which is a solar array. You're gonna hear from them tomorrow. There's a potential they may be on, if we're not too stacked, but if we've got a quorum, then let's load up.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise it gets pushed to the
Right.
18th, and it's too, you know.
Yeah, and then we got, so ideally, Milburn will contact, that's not the one that Frank's talking about, so we might have 3 on the agenda, which they're not public hearings, that's not bad.
That's okay. It's just I'm concerned that this will take a bit of time if there are attorneys here and we gotta go back and forth.
Yeah.
So.
Should probably go
But I'm
Thursday.
okay with those other 2 if they're.
There'd be initial presentations, so,
Yeah.
you know, those usually stay pretty limited on time.
Yeah. Okay. So that's our agenda. Next time we have 3 things on there. And then if we jump to November 18th.
Sounds good.
All right, so,
I got
does
it.
anybody have any other things to say or questions?
No.
So we have a
Motion to close the zoning board meeting?
Second. And seconds, all in favor?
Aye.